long before telescopes, long before the age of science. Ancient eyes looked upward, not with curiosity, but with reverence. To them, the stars were not distant suns, they were gods, guides, and keepers of destiny. Across the jungles of Central America, the deserts of Mexico, and the high peaks of the Andes, civilizations rose and fell, guided by the rhythm of the heavens. But how did they do it? How did people with no telescopes, no written mathematics, and no metal tools predict eclipses, solstices, and the motion of Venus with astonishing accuracy? The answer lies hidden in stone, shadow, and starlight. A forgotten code written across the sky. For the Maya, Aztec, and Inca, the sky was not merely decoration. It was a divine map, a clock of cosmic will. The rising of Venus signaled war, the eclipse foretold rebirth. The solstice marked the turning of the world itself. Every sunrise, every shadow, every flicker of light upon their temples was observed, recorded, and woven into the rhythm of their civilization. But who taught them to read the heavens with such precision? And what else did they see in the stars that we've long forgotten? At the heart of Mayan civilization was a device more sophisticated than a clock, the calendar round, a system of interlocking cycles, the 260-day sacred calendar, called the Tzolk'in, and the 365-day solar year, the Hab. When these two wheels aligned, every 52 years, the Maya believed the world was renewed. It was not superstition, it was precision astronomy expressed through spirituality. Their calendar could predict solar eclipses centuries in advance. Their mathematics, based on the concept of zero, a concept Europe would not adopt for centuries, allowed them to measure cosmic time with astonishing accuracy. But the calendar was just the beginning. Some of their temples were not temples at all. They were observatories, machines of stone built to track the very heartbeat of the universe. At Chichen Itza, the temple of Kukulkan becomes a living serpent on the day of the equinox, its shadow slithering down the pyramid steps as the sun aligns perfectly with the horizon. At Karakal, the great Mayan observatory, narrow windows align not with the earth, but with Venus. They tracked its 584-day cycle, noting its disappearances and reappearances, linking them to war, peace, and prophecy. To us, Venus is a planet. To them, it was the messenger of fate, the spark that decided the rhythm of empires. But across the mountains, far from the jungles of the Maya, another people watched the sky in silence, building temples that mirrored the stars themselves. As we move north from the Mayan world, the Aztec capital of Tenochtitlan rises from the mist. Built upon a sacred lake, its very streets and temples were mapped to the heavens. For the Aztecs, the sky was not to be worshipped, it was to be mirrored. Their city was a reflection of the cosmos, and every stone was set in rhythm with the stars. Teotihuacan, the city of the gods, predates the Aztecs themselves. When they discovered its colossal pyramids, they believed divine giants had built them to touch the sky. Modern researchers found that the Avenue of the Dead aligns almost perfectly with the setting of the Pleiades, a cluster sacred to farmers and priests alike. The layout of the city mirrored the movement of Orion's belt. Each pyramid served not just as a temple, but as a calendar, the sun pyramid marking solstices, the moon pyramid tracking lunar cycles. They transformed architecture into astronomy. But deep in the south, high in the Andes, another civilization watched different stars, and carved their own observatories from living rock. In the empire of the Inca, the sky was the kingdom's compass. Their capital, Cusco, was designed in the shape of a puma, a creature linked to the constellation of the same name. At Machu Picchu stands the Intihuatana, the hitching post of the sun. On solstices, its carved edges align perfectly with the path of the sun, casting no shadow at noon. To the Inca, it tethered the sun to the earth, ensuring its return each year. These weren't coincidences. Across hundreds of miles, temples and stones were oriented with precise astronomical purpose. Even in death, Inca kings were buried facing celestial landmarks, forever watching the heavens. And yet, these alignments hint at something even deeper, a shared cosmic language that spanned continents. Separated by jungles and mountains, by centuries and languages, these civilizations spoke a common cosmic tongue. Each built in stone what they saw in the sky, encoding planetary cycles, solstices, and eclipses into sacred geometry. Their myths, from the Mayas' Quetzalcoatl to the Incas' Inti, were not mere stories. They were symbols for celestial forces, describing the movements of stars in poetic form. What we call myth, they called science. What we call superstition, they called survival. For them, astronomy was the pulse of life itself. But if they knew so much, what happened to that knowledge? Why did the cosmic wisdom of entire civilizations vanish almost overnight? And then silence. In the 16th century, foreign sails appeared on the horizon. Empires of the sun gave way to empires of the cross. The temples were stripped, the astronomers silenced. Libraries of bark paper codices, containing centuries of celestial observation, were burned to ash. In days, the accumulated wisdom of 1,000 years turned to smoke. The cosmic rhythm that had guided generations was broken, but not all was lost. A handful of codices survived: the Dresden, the Madrid, the Paris. Within their glyphs, astronomers found precise eclipse tables and Venus cycles. Numbers and alignments so accurate, they matched NASA's predictions within a single day. Even today, descendants of the Maya in Guatemala still watch the stars, performing ceremonies that mark equinox and solstice, continuing a rhythm that never truly died. But a new mystery is emerging, one that connects these ancient star maps to patterns hidden in the very structure of the universe. Researchers have found that the geometry encoded in these temples mirrors natural cosmic ratios, the same spirals found in galaxies, shells, and DNA. Their myths of cycles and rebirth, their obsession with Venus and the sun, may not have been primitive spirituality, but an early attempt to express the mathematical beauty of the cosmos. Across millennia, from carved stone to digital screen, humanity continues to trace the same celestial code. The ancients built it in temples, we build it in equations. And perhaps, in understanding their sky, we begin to remember our own place within it. In a way, we have become the new skywatchers, sending telescopes beyond the clouds, beyond the solar wind, searching the same heavens our ancestors once worshipped. And though our tools have changed, our wonder remains the same. Their temples still whisper their story, a story written not in ink, but in light. The sky has always watched us, from the first fire to the final star. The ancients mapped it, feared it, celebrated it, and left behind a message that endures. Look up and listen. The heavens are whispering still.